Today, we're gonna be working the Tabak Toyok, or the Filipino Nunchucks. If you're in the market for a pair of great Tabak Toyok or Nunchucks, I have a link in the description below to my good friends over at KarateMart.com. They've got a great assortment of different styles of nunchucks. Different colors, different materials. Some are wood, some are metal, even foam nunchucks that are perfect for you to get started with your practice. You can grab a pair that have the chain and the ball bearing, or you can go more of the traditional route with the rope. Again, click that link in the description below and go ahead and shop for your favorite pair that works with your personality and with your style. Let's go and grab our Tabak Toyok and get to the training. The first thing we have to talk about is the grip on this weapon, and there's different ways to grip this weapon. The first way is you can grip it up near the chain or the rope. This is going to be more for the flashy kind of nunchuck jugular demonstration, theatrical type of movements. And nothing wrong with that. That's good coordination work, and it's a lot of fun. The other gripping method is going to be down here, way down here. You're going to see some styles of nunchucks have these grooves right here for your grip. And when you grip it down here, this is going to be more for your combative type of striking, because you have that maximum reach, that range, and you can maximize the velocity and the power of your strikes. When I first begin my students on the Tabak Toyok, I like to tell them to go ahead and just grab the chuck in the middle. This gives you the best of both worlds, from the chain and all the way down, where you can still learn some good control on this weapon. But in your own individual practice, make sure that you are playing around and having fun with gripping the chuck in all these different areas, so that way you become the most familiar with this weapon. Let's go ahead and get into some warm-up movements, and then we'll get into our combat striking techniques. Our first movement on the Tabak Toyok, which is a warm-up movement, helps to learn the momentum of this weapon. So we're going to grab the chuck in the right hand. The chuck that is hanging, this is going to be the active chuck. This is the one that's going to be doing all the swinging and all the hitting on our opponent. So we're going to start off just like this with our forward spin. Right, just start off nice and easy like this. Small circles with the wrist, and just let the momentum of the chuck bring that active side all the way around, spinning it forward, keeping the elbow close to the body. Now we're going to switch directions, so watch carefully. I'm going to give you 3 different switches that you can start practicing. The first one is off of the arm. The active chuck is going to bounce off the arm, and then we're spinning it backwards. To change the directions back forward, we're again going to bounce the active chuck off of the tricep, and now we're going forward. The next one is going to be off of the hip. The active chuck close to the chain, we're going to bounce it off the hip, and that allows us to change the direction of the spin. Bounce it off the tricep to come back forward. Now the third one, watch carefully. We're going to use the inner thigh to catch that active chuck, and that changes direction going backwards again. Off of the tricep to change it forward. All right, so quick review on that. We're rotating forward. First switch, or the rebound, off of the arm. Bring it off the tricep to bring it back forward. Number 2, off of the hip. Off the tricep to switch it back forward. And then rebound number 3, or switch number 3, is off the inner thigh. And then off of the tricep to get it back forward. Okay? That's our first warm-up technique. Make sure you practice that both right hand and left hand. Warm-up number 2 is our basic switches. We're switching over the shoulder. We're grabbing the chuck underneath our armpit with the opposite hand. Later, this could become strikes, upward strikes. This is good coordination work and sensitivity on the weapon. Just start nice and slow and gradually speed it up. And then from there, trap it underneath the arm. Come up, trap it underneath. Right there. Make sure you have those warm-up techniques, and let's go ahead and get into the combat striking techniques. On the Tabak Toyok, the first combat striking technique is our verticals. We're gonna begin with us in the chamber position just like this. I'm gonna strike it down, and then I'm gonna uppercut it all the way back up, just like that. Okay, so take a look here now. As we strike it down, you're gonna notice that I'm going to kill the momentum, or what we call dead in the weapon right here, and then we're gonna strike it up, stopping it right here at the tricep. So down and up, down and up. You wanna get really good at being able to deaden the weapon right here and kill the momentum of that chuck, of the active side. And just get it going like this. You don't need striking intention in the beginning. Just work the coordination and work the control on the chuck. And then, as you're getting more coordinated and better with the movement, then you can start adding in more power and more intention. Tabak Toyok combat technique number 2 is our horizontal strikes. From here, we're going to strike it out horizontal. And make sure that we are extending and really going in to strike our opponent. We can strike them high at the head. We can strike them to the middle, which will go right to the elbows or the floating ribs, right to the body. We can even strike it low down to the knees. Now the chuck can bounce off of the arm, on top of the arm, or under the arm. You want to make sure that you are training both variations. And change up your elevations. Begin slow and then gradually add in the power. Tabak Toyok, or the Filipino Nunchucks combat technique number 3, is our diagonal strikes. And we utilize the downward X strikes. We're gonna first train this with no intention, okay? We're just gonna get the motion down just like this. Okay, downward forehand, downward backhand. An angle 1 and angle 2, just like this. No intention in the strikes, just for right now. I want you to play with this. We're just learning the motion. We're getting very comfortable with this flexible weapon, and we're learning to control it first before we start putting power into these strikes. Now, I want you to play around here because we can go large X just like this. We can also go into a smaller X just like this, learning the control of that active chuck. And mix it up. Large X, small X. Large X is going to give you more power. Small X is going to give you more speed. Once we're feeling a bit more comfortable with the diagonal strikes, then we can start adding in some more power. We're gonna start off right here in that chamber position. I'm gonna strike my 1 all the way through. See, I'm gonna go all the way to that 2 chamber position right here, strike my 2 all the way through. We have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Large motions, full power shots. A lot of people think that you're gonna risk hitting the back of your head with these powerful angles 1 and angle 2 diagonal strikes. If you have the right mechanics and you have confidence in the ability to wield this weapon, you're not gonna hit the back of your head, okay? Promise. Our 4th combat striking technique on the Tabak Toyok that I wanna give you for today is going to be our backhand vertical strike right here. We can add a lot of power into the strike. Here's how we work it. We're going to grab the chucks, 1 in each hand. It's going to be in front of my body. I'm going to extend this out, striking downward. Then I'm going to let this active chuck come to my left hip. My left hand is gonna meet it there. And we want the chain, we wanna catch the chain with the hip right here. 1, right here. 2, 3. Okay, right there. 1, 2, 3, right there. Just go nice and slow in the beginning. Okay? Don't hit your knee. You gotta make sure you got a good fighting stance. And right here. Okay? And once you have that coordination, then you can start to add some power and some intention in these movements. The last combat striking technique on the Tabak Toyok for this lesson, I need you to get to the chamber position just like this. I want you to think of this as a thrusting type of technique. We're gonna go ahead and thrust it forward, just like this. Okay? Now, we're not letting this come over the top and smack down like a vertical strike. That's not wrong, that's just a different technique. This one is coming straight out, and it's gonna shoot out like a thrust or like a bullet. And then we're gonna bring it back underneath, just like that. All right, so we have to use the momentum that we generate on the chuck. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, another cool thing about this one, this direct thrust, is that we can change the directions. Right there. That is the 5th combat striking technique on the Tabak Toyok, or the Filipino Nunchucks. Once you have these 5 striking techniques down, you've built some coordination, you've built some confidence, then I want you to play around with these 5 techniques and see if you can transition them together into one flow. So from here, we'll start off with our downward strike, our vertical. We can move this into the horizontal strikes. And we can turn this into our vertical strikes on the backhand side, into our downward figure 8s. We can strike with intention, or you can take the intention out for now and just work these basic movements. Right? Into the thrust, right here. And you can change the directions, bring it up, and just work it out and start mixing up all these different strikes right here. And have fun with your training, and I'll catch you back here next time for some more Filipino martial arts. So make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you like the Tabak Toyok. Leave me a comment below and subscribe to Kali Center for more training in our future very, very soon. I'll see you next time.